present to you on a project that we are undertaking, which really brings together all of the conversations that we've been having today. But before that, let me just give you a little brief about UNCDF, what we do. So UNCDF is a fund within the UN ecosystem, and we are unique in the ecosystem in that we have the capacity to deploy blended finance solutions. So this could be in the form of grants, it could be in the form of loans, or it could be in the form of guarantees to mainly accelerate access to finance. These are the main areas that we work in. And we work with the groups that your traditional financial ecosystem will not take care of, right? So like MSMEs, SMEs, and we work through the already existing infrastructures in the financial ecosystem. So banks, fintechs, and technology companies. So that is what UNCDF does. In Ghana, over the past 5 years, we've been working through a project called Green, where we've worked with some banks to help them expand their agency networks into areas where normally they wouldn't go because it is not so profitable. We've supported some fintechs to test new products around crowdfunding, both crowdfunding for investments, crowdfunding for donation. We've also dabbled a bit in the area of remittance. So we've helped other fintechs to test products, remittance-linked products such as insurance. Right. So let me just quickly come down to the project that we are doing. So we are running a 3-year project. It's a joint project. So in the UN system, when something is a joint project, it means that not less than 2 UN agencies are coming together to execute it because of maybe the reach or the areas that we want to be able to cover. So this project is being implemented by UNCDF, UNCTAD, and UNDP. And it's mainly about leveraging digital ecosystems for increased MSME productivity. It's a 3-year project that we are running. So we've all been here, we've been talking about how difficult it is for MSMEs to access finance, how the whole ecosystem is quite unfriendly. We've been talking about financial literacy and all that. But what this project is seeking to do is to bring transformative impacts to youth and women-led micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises. And we are looking at 3 main areas. So we are looking at regulation, we are looking at digital infrastructure, and we are looking at digital innovation. Over the period of 3 years, we hope to give 25,000 MSMEs access to digital financial services. We are working across the nation, but we have some key regions of focus: the northern region, Ashanti, Western, and Greater Accra. Also, again, we are hoping to bring tailored digital skills training, so both financial literacy and digital skills training to 10,000 MSMEs at the end of the project. In terms of the regulation level, we are working with the Ministry of Trade to ensure that there's an e-commerce strategy in place. Because the bigger picture is that we are going to have a platform which we call the Digital Gateway, which is going to sit with the Ghana Enterprises Agency. And if you understand the Ghanaian system, GEA gives support through the BACs to all the micro enterprises at the district level. So we are going to have a digital gateway platform that will work in 2 ways. So there's information. If you're an MSME and you want information on how to register your business, how to file your taxes, all of the things that maybe you can't, as an MSME, you might not have access to that information on your own, or it's really scattered. We are bringing it all together. And then there's a marketplace where you can put your products. If you do soap, whatever service or products that you have as an MSME, you can put that on the marketplace. So we are working together with the Ministry of Trade to make sure Ghana has an e-commerce strategy in place. As part of that, we'll be training the public sector reps that are going to be running this platform. As I said, it's going to sit with GEA. So we have 3 main outcomes that we are looking at for this project. The first is that digital finance mechanisms are increased for youth and women-led MSMEs. As the first presenter said, women we need these things more. So we are focusing on that. The second is to ensure that we have a strengthened business support system. And that we are doing through the digital gateway. So if you go on there, all the business support services you need, you should be able to have. And the last is that we want to be able to build government capacity and to support, e-commerce through improved policy and strengthened coordination. We believe that once we achieve all of these three outcomes, we will have MSMEs, especially the women and youth-led ones, growing and increasing their income generation capacity at the end of the 3 years. Okay, I think I've spoken about this, so I would just want to skip for the sake of time. As I mentioned, there are 3 agencies coming together to implement this, but for the purposes of this conversation, I want to focus on what UNCDF is doing. And what we want to achieve at the end of this project is to be able to develop and scale digital financial services that speak to the exact needs of the women and youth MSMEs that we are working with. And we want to be able to do that whilst providing them financial literacy training as well. Also, specific financial literacy training that speaks to their specific needs. We are looking at 3 areas, as I mentioned. We want to do the digital financial solutions, and we are looking and inviting all FSPs here to come on board to help us around this conversation in terms of developing digital financial solutions for this specific group of people. We would pilot and scale. So I think one of the presenters said here that it's important that you pilot before you go on scale. You just don't copy and paste. What we are seeking to do in phase 1 of this project is to provide grants and technical assistance for interested FSPs to come and test. First, we would support you with research in terms of doing your market scoping to come up with a product that really speaks to the needs of these MSMEs that we are looking at. So for example, a lot of MSMEs have a business bank account, but they do a lot of their business on their mobile phones, either through mobile money, their merchant numbers, or even their personal mobile money numbers. How do you evolve a product for these group of people that takes into cognizance the transactions they are doing on their mobile money? It's a good way for you to know their cash flow. It's a good way for you to know whether they are credit worthy or not, because you see all the inflows and outflows on their mobile money accounts. How do you evolve a product for this particular group? If you are using the traditional credit scoring rubric, they might not qualify. But if you go outside of the box, you might be able to develop a product that works for them. And that's what we are looking to do. We will support you through the pilot phase. If it's viable, we will support you to be able to scale. Because what we want to achieve is that at the end of this project, the adapted financial services that come out of it should be able to scale. Other financial institutions should be able to use that same model to benefit the broader ecosystem. And of course, we are also looking for partners who can give financial literacy at scale in a way that works for most of these, our target population. So again, for the context of this conversation, why should you come on board this project? My presentation is a pitch, really. We've been here talking about all the problems, and I'm giving you a platform to try and solve the problems. So why should you come on board this project? I think overall, we are giving you an opportunity to develop a digital financial product that works for a large number of people that have high growth potential. I think MSMEs make up over 70% of our GDP as a country, and they even employ the most. You find one MSME, maybe there's another person that works with them, another person. They are scattered all over the place. So we believe that if you're able to crack that code, there's a huge market potential for you to be able to build on. The second reason why you should come on board this project to work with us is that we are taking away the risk. When the CEO of Lesego was speaking, he said that sometimes you want to pilot some of these things, but it's expensive. So we are taking that away. Come and use our grants and our technical assistance to do that pilot. and see if it would work or not. If it works, we will also help you to scale. So we are mitigating that risk of loss, which usually holds financial service providers back from trying new things that might work. It's also an opportunity to drive innovation because we are envisioning that at the end of this project, there'll really be that innovative product that works. Even a lot of these MSMEs don't have pension products. They don't have insurance products that speak to their needs. The credit products out there are very expensive. We have micro lending platforms in Ghana that are doing like 6% a month, 10% a month. But these people go for it because they need it, right? So we want you to join us to drive innovation, collaborate with us. Let's find out what we can achieve together. And then there's also positioning. So if you join us on this initiative, you are positioning your organization as a leader in financial inclusion because you're putting yourself out there to do the research, to do the piloting, to make sure that you've come up with a product that promotes financial inclusion. And also you're contributing to the global development goals because this seeks to answer a lot of these questions that we've all raised here. And the last is strategic networking. So as I mentioned, the project is a joint SDG fund project. So the joint SDG fund is a pool of funds that seeks to help us achieve the SDG goals. So once you come on board, you've positioned yourself strategically within this network. And of course, you're also working with UNCDF, which I would say in country, or even, like in the whole UN ecosystem, we are the go-to agency when it comes to innovation around access to finance. So as I bring my presentation to an end, I would want to put this invitation out there to all the financial service providers here, to the research organizations here, because there's also a very important aspect of research, especially in phase one, where you're doing a lot of market scoping and supporting the FSPs to evolve a product that speaks to the needs of our target beneficiaries. So we are inviting you all to come on board, work with us to create innovative financial solutions for the people who need it the most in our economy today, which are the women and the young people who are running micro, small, and medium enterprises in Ghana. Thank you.
Oh, please, a round of applause. Didn't you enjoy that? I was just thinking of the few fintechs that we've just spoken, and I was wondering if they are taking notes and thinking of how they can pitch their own solution. Because something excited me on there.
Sorry, just to say that I'll leave some materials behind. If you want to know more about the project, it has my contact and you can reach out to us to get the conversations going. We'll put out the TOR very soon by the end of next month. So this is just to give you a teaser of what we want to do so you prepare to apply. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Barbara, I would invite you and then you can invite your panelists and you can start your session. We've taken some of your time, so you make your questions a bit brief. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this session. This session is about gender and inclusive finance. My name is Barbara Mintamafo. I'm a seasoned banker with over 16 years banking experience. I'm a certified digital finance practitioner, and I'm also a certified gender change maker. I would want to invite the panelists, both in person and virtual, to join us quickly. Okay, the first panelist is Dr. Amina Samo. Can we please give her a round of applause? Please, you can kindly have your seats. Then we have Ma'am Awa. I'm not too sure whether she was able to join online. Ma'am Awa. Then we have Sheila. Oh, Sheila. Let's give her a round of applause as she takes her seat. We invite Dr. Esther Lai. Dr. Esther Lai. Is she online? Then we invite Mrs. Mavis Bokwe. A round of applause for her as she takes her seat. Then the final panelist is Dr. Lucy Ejapon. Dr. Lucy Ejapon. All right, thank you so much. As we get the onliners to join online, we'll take a brief introduction from our panelists who are seated here. I'll start with Dr. Amina. If you can give us a brief introduction of yourself and what you are bringing on board today. Thank you.
The finance space for some time now. What I do is more financial literacy, but more especially to the vulnerable communities and not so much the high class. So forgive me if my language is homemade. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Okay, we'll go to Sheila. If you can give us a brief introduction of yourself.
Yeah, thanks everyone. My name is Sheila Semfuma Nakanyike. I'm the head of program for digital finance at Consumers International, and I've also been in the finance space quite a while across humanitarian work, traditional banking, consumer protection, bank policy, and yeah, everything finance. But yeah, glad to be here.
Thank you, thank you. Please let's give her a round of applause. All right, then Dr. Lucy, a brief introduction of yourself and what we should expect in this panel discussion.
Oh, fantastic. So my name is Lucy Ejapong. I'm the Vice President for Institutional Advancement here at Academic City. I don't have a finance background, so I'm coming more from a technology background and looking at producing the next generation of talent that will be in the fintech space. So with this whole discussion around gender diversity, which is very relevant now, I think that we are looking at what can we do so that people are a bit more aware of it and are able to make sure that it's embedded within your processes as you go back to your relevant companies.
Thank you, thank you. A round of applause. We'll be doing a lot of clapping, sorry. Mavis, okay. Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Mavis Bokwe. I work with EcoBank. I've been in the finance space for 16 years now, from retail to digital to youth banking. Thank you for having me. And I'm asking myself, is the panelist gender diversified? Why are we having all women? But I know we'll have an interesting conversation. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm not too sure if anyone joined online. Otherwise, we'll just kickstart into the panel discussion. Our first question goes to Dr. Amina Samo. The question is, what barriers exist for women and other underrepresented groups in accessing leadership roles within the fintech companies? What are some of the barriers, the challenges that exist for women?
Thank you very much there. I think I'll first give a disclaimer before I go to answering the question. I have an allergy to tech. Up till now, my favorite phone is 3310 Nokia. And so if I don't do too much tech, that would be the reason. Because I believe when I was going to school, my father said, because I pay your fees, read my letters. So I tell my children, because I pay your fees, fix the smartphone. And that's how we have managed. But I think COVID came to change the allergy a bit, since I was forced to do work from home. The number two is stating of facts when it comes to women. I say that due to our natural composition, there are certain things either we can't do or find it extremely difficult to do. What are these? We go through a monthly flow. And up till now, after 40 years of it, I still wish on the second and third day, I was sleeping in my bed instead of at a networking event or something. Number two, it would take a very crazy woman to have a text message on her phone which says the baby has high temperature. To have the presence of mind in the meeting to understand whatever you are saying there. Her mind is just absent. Let's go to number 3. Even women CEOs, women managers, women whatever, we wish we had men. Not because we don't like the women, but because we need the time, we need a productive time. And there are certain times a woman just can't be. The woman is pregnant. She's 7-8 months pregnant. What can she do on a trip to Bulga? Any woman or man who takes her on that trip is deemed wicked. Yeah. Didn't you see she was pregnant? We ask. But then she gets pregnant and she gives birth and she's given 4 months away to stay at home. The world doesn't stop when she's at home. The world moves on. Who stays on? It is the man. So in that 4 months, your boss gets so, and it's not just the 4 months. After that, you have 2 years in Ghana to close half day. Everybody who is caring would understand. But we need 8 hours at work. So by the time you finish and motherhood doesn't finish, unfortunately. By the time you are free because some nursery has taken them on to come back to work, people have learned, the men have learned, the men have moved on. The men are in a rhythm that you are not. We should understand this once. This is a university. I challenge you to ask any of your students to take a research into many, many women-led organizations. How many of them prefer a young woman to be their PA? How many of them prefer a young woman to work for them? They always prefer the men. Sometimes you go to organizations and they say, unless you spend 1 year here, you are from the banking sector. If you are a girl, unless you do 1 year, you can't get pregnant. But you just got married. Your in-laws are at home. How do you do that? When you make mistake to get pregnant, you lose your job. Because even though it's not written because it's illegal, you know that immediately you get pregnant, that's the end of you. They will find a way of getting you to go. So we should look at barriers from this end first before we talk about any other thing. I think this is my little submission. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You really brought us home. And I would like to share a story. I remember I wanted a change in department and I spoke to one of my friends to speak to his boss. And the boss asked, does she wear heels or she wears flat shoes? I don't know whether you know what that means. That means maybe she's pregnant. We don't want a pregnant woman here. That's a good one. Okay, we'll go to Dr. Lucy. Your question is, how can fintech firms create and sustain pipelines for diverse talent at senior levels?
So now that I'm one of the only people wearing flat shoes, I guess there's a question that's being asked, right? Okay. So how can, the question again was, how can we sustain talent and ensure that there's diversity at senior levels?
Yes.
The interesting thing is that, and I think it's not only in the fintech space, it's a lot of in the technology space. You tend to see that men have had the opportunity to work at a senior level for a long time. I think we're in a very beautiful era where there's an emphasis on gender diversity. And I think this is a positive gender diversity, right? For once, people will hear it from our perspective, but it's great that we have men in the room who can hear it from our perspective, who are already having seats at the important table to be able to advocate as well. But the way we are able to do that is that we need to be very intentional about it. You see that a lot of, at least academic institutions, now we're having kind of like a mandate of the ratio of men to women in education, particularly in the STEM fields. So a similar thing can be done for fintech companies that says, what percentage of your senior managers need to be women? What percentage of your senior managers need to be on your exec board? I'll use Academic City as a classic example. Academic City has an executive team leadership of 11 people, and I think 6 or 7 of us are women. Apart from the president, the 2 vice presidents are women. Our director of strategy is a woman, director of admissions is a woman, registrar is a woman, and we have a lot of women there. And that is because we are very deliberate about it. And again, it's because we also have male champions. So I would encourage Fintech to have a quota to say, what is the percentage of women that we want on the board? Not necessarily to say that we're going to put people who are not qualified there to do it, because there are people qualified there. But then that brings us to the issue of the pipeline. If we don't start training some of our females to be leaders or senior managers in the field, by the time that you want to put a woman there, when you look around, there's none, because none of them have been trained to be doing so. So this is when, again, we encourage Fintech organizations to come up with the talent development pool, come up with mentorship schemes. So a classic example, every woman here on this panel should have mentors in the organization to show them the route of how do you get to where you need to be. A lot of us are mothers. How do you balance this whole work-life balance? And also be realistic with them. You can't have it all. Anybody that says you can have it all, no, you have to compromise somewhere. And whichever compromise you decide to do, it's okay for you. If you choose to focus 100% on your family and with the risk to your job, that's okay if that's what you're happy with. If also you want to advance your career and therefore need support for people to be at home, to be doing the work for you whilst you're not there as well, that's okay. But how do we talk about this reality that we face on a day-to-day basis with the younger women who are coming up? How do we tool them to start thinking in different ways? One of the things that we say all the time is that a lot of the times, the reason why women are not advancing in senior positions is because of lack of confidence. A lot of them are doubting that they can't do the job. The difference between men and women is that a man will apply for a job, will meet 30% of the criteria and still apply anyway. Women want to meet all the criteria. If there's one that we can't meet, then we are not qualified for the job. They don't know that the men are faking it. We just need to learn to fake it as well. Do you understand? Let's all fake it till we make it. And we pretend and we'll learn along as we go along. And there's a capacity to do that. So we need to encourage females to take opportunities. And then we that are there, the most important thing is that we need to make sure that we are holding the hands of these other younger women, other different genders, to say, how do we bring you along? And how do we make sure that when you get there, you get the necessary support? One of the things that you mentioned was that a lot of other women would want men to work with. And sometimes we say we are our own worst enemies, because as women, instead of helping other women, because we have to appear to be tough, we have to appear to be strict so that the men know they can't walk over us. We take it a bit too far, even on our own genders. So we need to be accepting of who we are. And we need to say, that girl could be me next time. How do I tool them? And that is the only way we can create a pipeline, by becoming mentors, by having specific targets to say, we need this number of representation, and making sure that you are building the skill set that is required to do that. And partnering with institutions like ours, whereby, and I have to say this because I'm Academic City and you are here, right? By partnering with institutions such as us to say that, you know what, every year, we want a female intern from one of your fintech spaces, one from your computer science places, and start developing these people early so that you get the real raw talent, come to a place that has diversity and choose from diverse people and get them built and ready for the future of work.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lucy. It's been a very practical session, and I believe we are all learning a lot. It's about being intentional, having the policies in place. Yeah. So the next question goes to Sheila. What role do networking opportunities and industry visibility play in advancing gender diversity in the fintech space? We are talking about networking opportunities like this one, industry visibility. What role does it play in advancing gender diversity in the fintech space?
Yeah, I'll start with a Luganda proverb. They say you can't catch a fish by staying in the house. You have to go to the lake to find the fish. And as long as we stay in our comfortable spaces, we don't want to go out, it's not who we are, I'm naturally not like that, means that you stay in whatever you've always known, and you won't be able to access all the opportunities that these opportunities bring. And that goes from mentorship opportunities, meeting other like-minded people that could actually help spur you on. Could be something around funding. Usually the funders are within the networking opportunities, but you'll miss that because you didn't come. Mame was presenting around the opportunity that UNCDF has. Those are things we wouldn't have known if we were not here. You won't get to meet new people that you could collaborate with. So for me, I feel like it's very critical for women to go out there. Like sometimes it's even events where you feel like, oh, I'm not qualified. Like she said, we usually want to be 100% qualified. And that's not how real life works. The people who get ahead get out of their comfort spaces. They go out in the places which are fearful and try to access new territories. So for me, it's mainly trying to see these as opportunities to advance ourselves, but also to learn and contribute. We've seen that at least 73% of some of the accidents that happen, if there is a crash, women are more likely to die, 73%. And that's because when these are designed, they use prototypes of male bodies, irrespective of where. Which means that if you're not in the right spaces to explain such things or to share some of the things that you know, the people who design these things, which are usually men, because most of the spaces are really concentrated with men because of stereotypes again, you realize that you stay with your knowledge, you understand all these amazing things, but you won't be able to benefit, or no one will benefit from them. When we were going for lunch, I saw something there, leave your mark, which was really cool. I'll go take a picture for content. But I thought that was really, really good. And by going to such spaces, you leave a mark. You don't know who you're inspiring. You don't know what you say that inspires you. When you say something around, we can't have it all. Usually we're always trying, how do you balance career, be a super mom, have the best kids in school, go for soccer matches, rock it at work, be the best at literally everything, including social events, be loved by your in-laws. You want to do it all. We've been programmed to think you can have everything, but being in spaces with other women who have made it, who aspire to some of the things you do, and understanding the realities of their life in a safe space really contributes a lot to ensuring that women are leveraging their strengths and not really sitting and trying to say, oh, this is what it should be, and short of that, I shouldn't, bother. But I feel like networking opportunities create spaces for funding, they create spaces for learning, and they create spaces for us to better ourselves and learn cohesively from each other and partners. So I would encourage really, for these such things to keep going, but also to have them male partners as well to be part of these, because we have to move together. We can't do it alone.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can we give a round of applause, please? Okay, so the next one go to Mavis. We are moving to the next topic, which is gender-sensitive fintech products and services. Mavis, your question is, how can fintech products be designed to meet the unique financial needs of women and marginalized genders to bring profitability?
Thank you very much. So when we are looking at women and tech or fintech products, we are looking at all financial services and products that are delivered technologically. We are looking at your savings account, but you are able to access it on phone, convenient at your home. These are all fintech products. So for women, how do you design these products to suit us? And also the other end is for the fintech company to have profitability at stake. We are looking at personalizing the products and services that you are wanting to create as a fintech company. Look at how these products will be tailored to us as women. We are so much, we need just a little to do more. So you'll be personalizing products like savings, micro lending, and a lot has been said from Jumo to Findo to Kiana in Nigeria. A lot of fintech companies are developing micro lending products, and they are all targeting women. UNCDF just gave us a brilliant submission or a pitch. I must say that we work with them on their green projects, and we reached so many women and youth. These are the things that we want to see from our fintech companies. There is a saying that a more gender responsive future is a more prosperous one. When you look at the International Financial Corporation report, it posits that about $1.7 billion, which it's women-led businesses. There is that value of opportunity for financial institutions. So why don't you tap in and develop personalized products for us? Because we are really growing, we are really evolving. Women-led businesses are evolving, so we need personalized products. We need accessible products, products that will transform us, help to transform our family and the population entirety. We all know the adage, train a woman and you are training, or educate a woman and you are educating a whole population. So let the products you are designing for us be accessible and be impactful. We should be able to evolve from 1 to 3 to 4 because we hold a bigger portion of the population. The last one will be, it has to be trustworthy. The products that we are churning out there as fintech companies, we need to have transparency at its core. It has to be trustworthy because Doctor just said she's not that technologically inclined, in quotes. She is akin to her old phone. There are a lot of women that have these because the fear of the unknown. It's fraud happening on my mobile money wallet. Are they charging me here and there? Let us make sure that our products are transparent in pricing, more personalized, and more affordable. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mavis. Thank you. I'll give another question to Dr. Lucy, please. We have two of our panelists who couldn't make it, so I'll be giving some impulse questions, please. All right, what are the best practices for mentorship and sponsorship programs aimed at supporting women in fintech? What are some of the practices for mentorship?
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's different types of mentorship schemes. You can have either a dedicated one where people of influence, like the people we have on this panel, go to places where students are either studying and trying to get into the fintech space, or early career women, for us to talk to them and show them what we've done before, what can you do, what can you learn. And then there's also one-on-one mentorship, whereby within your organization, there's some other women there that you believe have the potential to be able to excel in their field of space. So you can either do this one-on-one mentorship, but it just has to be very targeted. Some people, particularly those at senior management, sometimes you don't have the time. And that is the biggest challenge. But then being able to have, again, use technology to be able to touch base with them once a while to see, how are you getting on? What are some of the challenges you're facing? What advice do you need? Those tend to go a long way. One of the things that you said about our motto that says make your mark is that a lot of the times you don't know the amazing things that people are seeing in you from just observing you, and giving them an opportunity for them to interact with you, for you to ask them questions and set them some ambitious targets to say, okay, if I have gotten here, I always tell my students that anything that we have been able to achieve, you should be able to do better, because you have more leverage, you have more technology than we ever did. Can you inspire somebody to do that? Can you give them some stringent targets for them to be able to, adhere to from time to time? And can you just make that time available to be able to speak with them, encourage them, and show them the ropes to succeed in the industry?
Thank you so much. Mentorship is so important. We need to avail ourselves. We need to impact some lives. It shouldn't be just about us. All right, thank you. So Sheila, there's a question for you. What are the challenges in ensuring that the fintech solutions are inclusive and cater to a diverse customer base? What are some of the challenges?
I think the first one is really trying to understand women. Usually when products are being designed, someone sits there and they think they understand women and they'll design a product and then it will come on market and women are not using it. We did a research while working with refugees in Uganda with Opportunity Bank, where initially the banks and the microfinance institutions didn't want to give loans to women because they just said women default a lot. There was no evidence to support it, but they just said that. And then UNCDF came and they provided a guarantee scheme where they were like, yeah, if you give loans to women and they default up to a certain level, we shall pay back. And lo and behold, they did the research, and 98% of the women paid their loans on time, and they took more. And they even did more with what they did, with what they did with the money than most of the loans they were giving to men. So usually there are lots of biases as solutions are being developed based on stereotypes that, people have created out of nowhere or in the course of interaction within the different cultures. And then they use that to make products for women that are not suitable for them. Just like Mavis said, you need to understand the women, you need to design for purpose. Design something that's actually credible. It doesn't need to take UNCDF to come and prove that, women will default. Sometimes you have to take the risk or to at least do a pilot study before you launch something big so that you don't say, okay, we don't have funding. But try to understand, how does this impact women? What can I do right now to try at least and get data to justify whatever decision I'm trying to make? So that has been one of the things we've seen. But the other is that sometimes they're just unscrupulous business people trying to take advantage. For example, when you talk about pink tax, you realize that, I don't know if there are big shavers in Ghana, but you find that a big shaver that's pink or purple is priced almost twice as much as a blue one. And because they know maybe women or school-going girls will buy the pink one, that's priced high. Even like if it's always like sanitary towels, you find that the ones with fancy colors are priced more. The cost of production is not different. It's the same. So you can't say that it's a cost issue, a production issue. But because of that, we pay pink tax because we are women. So just to have pink colored, more fun things, we have to pay more. And people are just taking advantage of that. So I feel that is also not good. And it's one of the things we see as shortages, like sometimes just trying to take advantage of situations. If you can design the same thing for men at the same cost, you could still design the same for women without really exaggerating the cost. So we see that as well. But the other is really also generally providing feedback mechanisms for women or that are relevant to women in access of financial services, in access of other fintech solutions, or any solutions for that matter. Usually you find that women, at least 70%, control household spending. At least they decide whether it's food, what to buy the most, or clothing. They control the budget or at least the spending. But somehow the mechanisms in place, if something is spoiled, for example, if you buy something that's expired, there is no clear labeling on where I report. Or if it's women who are not literate in a particular way, they won't have any access to, they won't know how to read or interpret that or know where to go. So you sit back as a fintech and say, because we have a customer care line and 70% of the calls are coming from men, it means women are happy. No, it's because they don't know that they have to call. Or if they're trying to negotiate between the free helpline that never goes through and the one that's paid that you have to pay to go through, and I have to decide whether to buy a bar of soap vis-a-vis using that money to call for something at a helpline, I'll choose the bar of soap if I'm a woman. So you find that in the end, I won't complain, I'll just withdraw. I'll have an account, I won't use it because I tried to complain, I couldn't access anyone. So you need to design and to think in terms of what the women are doing, but bring them to the table. Usually this design and everything happens without really consulting with women, or you consult with a class of women and not very representative of all the different types of women that could actually possibly use the product. So it's mainly how are you inclusive, how are you engaging different types of women. Women are not a homogeneous group, we're all different. Even when you look at all of us here, we're very different, our needs are different. You try to get representative groups, the urban poor, the urban rich, the rural poor, the rural rich, different tribes. Try to see how the different cultures and the different types of women interact with solutions and design accordingly.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shira. All right, there's a question on data analytics. How can data analytics be used to identify and address gender disparities in the fintech usage and access? I mean, I'm not sure. Okay. Should I pass it to someone else?
Yeah,
Data analytics, yes.
No problem. Basically, it's us saying, how do we use data to make those critical decisions? And what she said is a classic example about, when they were talking about the number of women that default on loans. Data analytics is able to let you track information and then analyze that data and be able to see what is the true trend And from the trend, can we use it to predict what potentially can happen? Unfortunately, from what is happening at the moment, a lot of decisions are being made off the cuff of this is how I feel or I think. So what data analytics allows us to do, it allows us to capture relevant data, mine that data, and make informed decisions. Now, the challenge we have in our part of the world is that we are not even collecting that data. Which means that if you say, how can data analytics help us within this space, we don't even have the data at all. So as fintech companies or any company in the finance technology space, we should be capturing these data over time. And then once we've captured this data over time, then we can mine this data for us to be able to predict trends, be able to predict that in reality, depending on the demographic, where they are coming from, what kind of opportunities exist, what kind of tools can we develop for these people, what are they likely to use. But then we also shouldn't be skewed from the fact that data is also skewed depending on how it's collected. We need to make sure that when we are capturing data, it is diverse and it is representative, not for one set of people, but for a collective. If you look around, everybody's talking about artificial intelligence and the likes. The challenge that we are having is that people are developing tools based on information that is available. And because Africa or Ghana, we don't have that amount of data, sometimes you go to ChatGPT, you ask a question, it can't answer because it doesn't have the relevant data that is peculiar to your environment or where you come from. So we need to be deliberate about that. And we need to make sure that we capture enough data that is representative of the kind of people. And you mentioned some very valid points. Not just people living in Accra, that will give you a skew data, but a good representation across the country so that you can make informed decision. It can help you to even decide what kind of tools what kind of technology to build for a particular set of people based on how they behave, based on what they usually do, based on the way they grow up and even their beliefs.
Thank you so much. This is a great submission. Kindly let's give.
Let me just
All right,
add
all
on
right.
to that. Let me just say that it's not that we do not have data in Ghana. We have a lot of data in Ghana. What we don't have is coordinated data. Everybody has data. Yeah, hello. Everybody has data, but in a way they want it. Government does not have data. The people who have a lot of data in Ghana is MTN. MTN has so much data, and I'm sure if government want to buy it, it will be too expensive. Government will not consider it. I thought we had the 2021 census, which collected a lot of data. But when you go onto their website to look for a specific data for a specific program, then you realize that the data there is not enough. I was on a project that we're doing in the outdoor drainage insurance product that we want, like government insurance product. And then we realized that we do not have the people who live in the sub-sovereign area, those who live in kiosks. We've numbered them as those living in Nima. We've numbered them as those living in Achimota area, where they are doing the Garage project. Are they in houses? Are they permanent? Are they traders? When you get to the Odo, the Abobloshi area there, which human beings are there? We realize that we have information about them when it comes to voting. We realize we have information about them when MTN want to roll out something. But when we want to roll out financial inclusion, which is serving them finances, serving them insurance, where is it? We don't have it. Even though at the census we ask, how much do you earn? But even ask, who takes salary? If you access how, let alone the person who sells fruits, the person who sells wache, how much do they earn? Are they, in which brackets do you find them when it comes to financial inclusion? I'm doing some work with Insurance Awareness Coordinators Group and with NIC. We are going to rural Accra. And you ask them, do you know about insurance? Everybody does. Do you have insurance? Almost everybody does. What insurance? Health insurance. The business that they're doing, somebody is selling wood. Even the insurance company don't have wood insurance. We don't have stock insurance. We don't have stock in transit insurance. And financial institutions are talking about giving loans. When they give you loans, what do they give you? Life insurance. So that when you die. Everybody is talking about when you die. Who is talking about when you live? Who is talking about livelihood? Who is talking about when the water takes away my bag of corn? Who brings it back to me? Who is talking about when water runs over my charcoal? Who is bringing it back to me? And I realize that we have been talking financial inclusion. We are doing that without talking about how to incorporate insurance into it. And I know that if you give them insurance, the cost of finance will be lower. Because then you have something that you can fall on. Yeah. But we are only talking about them and talking about guarantee. What about insurance? So data is there. Let me come back to it. But it is not in the form you want. And it's also because we've left data collection to development partners. They come in with their money. They come and do their research. They pick their reports. They take it away. After 3 to 5 years, the project is finished. And nobody remembers to go back again. You ask anybody 5 years down the line, oh, the GIZ people were here. UNDP helped us some time back. And that's all that you will see. Because at this present moment, that money is not there. So when you come with your money and you say, we are going this tangent, because we don't even have anything in place, we just take it up. We should be intentional.
So there's a lot of work to do around that. And I'm going to put a plug on this. So we are doing data analytics as a master's program in Academic City, right? And these are some of the things that you want to tease out, because with the new and emerging technologies within this field, you are able to put all some of these data together and then make informed decisions. And you're able to mine it, and you're able to even write your own algorithm to try and tease out some of this information that we don't have. And this is a classic example of industry academia partnership, whereby in academia, we're sitting here and constantly saying, we don't have the data. We don't have the data. And industry saying, no, they are there. It's just that they are not being collected in a consolidated manner. We are not able to interpret them, and we don't even have access to them, because at the end of projects, they go away. So I think there's a lot of work to be done around there to bridge the gap within those areas.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We don't have much time to continue, unfortunately, but I believe we have made some impact. We've given you some information, and we've brought you home. We made it very practical. I'd like to say that data is the new gold, but collecting it in the right way, it's very, very important, so that we can analyze it, to use it to make informed decisions. Now, I just want to give my conclusive message, and I'm a storyteller, so I usually tell a story. When I had my baby, then I was doing my gender course, and I could see a lot of gaps. For instance, Amina mentioned them in her introduction, and it was fantastic. For instance, the Ghana Health Service will say, do 6 months exclusive breastfeeding, but maternity leave is 3 months in my organization. Now, even when I want to take my baby to school, the school is opening at 7 and closing at 4, and I'm working 8 to 5. I had a friend who owns a school, and I told her, you are all not fair to us. What do you want us to do? Do you want us to stop the job? Okay, so this, my friend had to extend the hours of her school, and I believe it's not just because of people like me. Her school is growing because everybody is looking at hours like 6 to 6 or 6 to even 9, because we need that support to be relevant in our organizations. The health service says breastfeed, there are no pumping rooms, there's no fridge to keep your breast milk. some people are saying extend the maternity leave to 6 months. Me, I don't even want it because I know I won't be employed by anybody. Like Amina mentioned, we even want to work with men because you are working with the woman and you are already empathizing with all the stress around the woman. So we've said enough. All that we are saying is that we should be inclusive. We should be intentional in our policies, in everything that we do, so that we are gender sensitive. Thank you very much.